Today I'm going to be watching this video. It's called 5 Signs You're Raising Your Kids in Germany. So interested to see what these signs are. I don't know if I said it on a video, I probably have before, but I'm a father to 2 young children. My son's just turned 5 a couple weeks ago. My daughter will be 2 in the end of December. So 2 young children. I love being a parent. I try and be the best parent I can be every day. It's so fun. And yeah, I'm interested to see what it's like to raise a kid in Germany. Even things like what being a parent in Germany is like. Tell me if you've got kids. How do you find life in Germany? Maybe if you've lived in any other countries, how does it compare? So yeah, interested to see this. Let's watch and we can see how it goes.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. In this video today, I am going to be sharing with you the 5 signs that you are raising your kids in Germany. As a New Zealander who is raising my 2 children in Germany, I have to say that becoming a mum has been the biggest culture shock that I have experienced so far in Germany. And although New Zealand and Germany share very similar core values when it comes to raising our children, we also have very different parenting styles. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this today. And I don't want to generalize too much because I know that not all German parents are going to be like this and not all New Zealand parents are going to be like this. But overall, this is what I have experienced in Germany. Okay, so with all that being said, let's get into it. One of the signs that you are raising your kids in Germany is when you are at a playground or a play group or play date and a German mother will tell your child that they do not have to share their toy with their child. And okay, I'm going to give you an example of this because this is something that happened to me the other day and this still always shocks me a little bit. My little boy Matteo, he's 2.5 and he is not very good at sharing right now. He's learning, but he's not the best. And we were at the playground, he brought along his favorite truck and a little boy came over straight away, grabbed Matteo's truck, he was crying. So my first reaction when I saw this little boy crying, like most New Zealanders, I said, Matteo, why don't you share your truck with this little boy, maybe you can play together. And then the little boy's mother, who had seen everything that went on, said to Matteo, no, you don't have to share your truck, that is your truck and you can decide whether you want to share it or not. I'm just always a little bit taken back when I see this reaction from German parents because this is not how this situation would be dealt with in New Zealand. And I've talked about this before in another video. I gave like an example with a little boy sharing his ball. It was a similar example and this just happens all the time in Germany. It's also happened, Matteo has gone over to kids and started playing with their toys and the mothers will jump in and say, no, that is my son's toy and he gets to decide if he wants to share it. Honestly, I get this. I can understand why German parents do this and it makes total sense. It's just something that I am still trying to get used to. I've noticed that many German parents are very direct and very confident in their role as a parent. They're not afraid to tell you exactly what they think. And that can be kind of intimidating when you're a new mum, especially a new mum who is not from Germany. Another sign.
Yeah, that's very interesting. That one where you tell another person's child not to play with the toy because your own child's playing with it seems quite direct. I kind of do like it. For me, I'm just over the top and saying share. If one kid takes it, I would never scold that kid or do anything to like that. I would put that responsibility with the other parent. I would just more say to my kid like, oh, you just go play something else, it's okay. But actually I like the German way because you're giving your own kid that responsibility, like teaching that independence, allowing them to make their own decision for their own things when they're that young, and it's a very good trait to have as you grow up. So I can actually see the benefit of that. Tell me if that's the sort of parenting style you employ. Yeah, I'll definitely need to think about doing that actually.
Sign that you are raising your kids in Germany is when you start to get overwhelmed with the amount of shoes and protective weather gear you need to buy for your kids. My little girl Amelia is in her last year of kindergarten and this winter I think I had to buy her maybe 8 pairs of shoes. I am not joking, and she is constantly growing. In Germany they take kids footwear very, very seriously, especially in winter time. So this year for winter in kindergarten, Amelia needed snow boots, gum boots, regular boots, shoes, house shoes of course, sport shoes, and also they do sports inside when it's really cold, so she needed these kind of like gymnastics type shoes. So that was 7 pairs of shoes shoes, and during that winter she grew out of a couple of pair of her shoes, so I think I had to buy like 9 pairs of shoes all up. It is serious business trying to keep up with the kids' shoe situation in Germany, and not only is it footwear, it is protective weather gear. Amelia needs a complete snowsuit and a complete rain suit, and she is constantly growing, so I'm just constantly having to buy her all of this gear. And in Germany, it's kind of like there's no excuse for bad weather. Kids need to have the gear to protect them from any type of weather, because in Germany it snows, it's rainy in winter, and you know, the kids still want to go out and play. In New Zealand, it's pretty different. I know we don't have this kind of extreme weather, but I feel like New Zealand kids, they can get away with wearing 1 pair of shoes for every single occasion, and we just don't really care, you know, we don't take it that seriously. Also, another thing, German parents only buy really good quality shoes for their kids, which I think is a really good thing. I also buy good quality shoes for my kids, but they can be really, really expensive. So it's a good thing that in Germany they have a lot of these children's clothing markets where you can get really good quality secondhand shoes for a really reasonable
That's
price.
quite interesting. Yeah, again, that sounds expensive to me, like having to buy so many shoes, so much different types of clothing as well. I live in Malaysia, so every day it's 32 degrees and humid. We only wear t-shirts, shorts. When he goes to school, my son goes to kindergarten, actually wears a short shirt and a pair of shorts, always the same shoes as well, so we don't really have that much to think about, don't have that much expenditure when it comes to buying all these different things. What's the most you spend on shoes and clothing? We did go to Korea. We went to Seoul last winter for 2 weeks. Not just the cost of buying all the clothes, but the time it takes when you're actually just wanting to leave the house, leave the apartment. It takes so long to put all the layers on, all the clothes, and my children were a little bit younger at that time, so they're trying to move about and all that. So time consuming, it can be like 30 minutes, 40 minutes before having to leave. You need to start getting them both ready. Here, they're already ready. Whatever they're wearing in the house, they wear outside as well. We're going to Tokyo actually next month, which is going to be a bit cooler than Korea. I think it's like 12 degrees every day, so we still need to dress them up a little bit, but taking all that pain of getting them ready out of the equation this year. Yeah, tell me what you think about that, and tell me more about those markets. They actually sound very beneficial.
Okay, so another sign that you are raising your kids in Germany is when you can confidently breastfeed your baby wherever you want without getting looks of disapproval. I breastfed both of my kids in Germany, and I was able to do it anywhere and still feel comfortable. I would do it in cafes, I would do it on the street, you know, on a park bench. I would just breastfeed my kids anywhere. It didn't matter if my kids were hungry, I would feed them, and I would always do it quite discreetly. You'd never like see my boob flop out or anything. So I would, you know, I'd do it in a very discreet way, but I wouldn't care where I was. I would breastfeed, and I see a lot of German mums doing this. I remember there would be times in Germany in those early days where my baby would be like screaming with hunger, and I would just have to sit down on the side of the road, like on a bench, and feed my baby. I never once got a disapproving look or somebody that made me feel uncomfortable. I'd even get other German women kind of giving me a look of approval, you know, good on you for breastfeeding in public, that kind of thing. I remember being in New Zealand with Amelia when she was 6 months old, and I just presumed it was going to be exactly the same in New Zealand as far as breastfeeding and pro-breastfeeding, but it actually wasn't. And I remember getting some really disapproving looks for breastfeeding Amelia in public. I just really appreciate the fact that Germany is so pro-breastfeeding. It is the most natural way to feed your baby, and it shouldn't be something that is frowned upon, or women shouldn't have to go and hide to feed their baby.
That's actually more surprising on the New Zealand side of things, that they never actually accepted it that much. I live in Malaysia, which you would think because it's a Muslim country, it would be a lot more conservative in regards to that. But my wife breastfed both my children and did it in the public. I mean, she would wear a cover over the top, this little thing you can throw over the top. But like literally not one problem in that whole time. No disapproving looks. Everybody's pretty open in that respect and just respectful. So really surprising more on the New Zealand side of things. And yeah, I would expect in Germany people would just be open. I don't really see why anybody would have a problem with that. You got to feed your kid. that's a natural way to do it. Like,
Okay, so another sign that you are raising your kids in Germany is when you are at a playground and you see a child doing something that you would consider extremely dangerous, like almost life-threatening, and then the other German mums around are not fazed in the slightest about it. They're barely even watching. And honestly, this was one of the hardest things for me to kind of get used to. I've talked about this in other videos. I have to bring it up again because I believe that this is a huge cultural difference between parenting in New Zealand and parenting in Germany. German parents, they let their children take risks and experiment and explore, and by doing this, I have noticed that German kids have very, very good gross motor skills at a very, very young age. This definitely has a lot to do with the German parenting style of letting their children take risks. So I'm going to give you an example. Close to where we live, there is a playground with a really, really high fence made of cobblestone, and the kids like to climb up on this fence. They can kind of put their feet through the little gaps in the cobblestone and they climb up and they like to walk around the fence which goes around the entire playground. This is a very high fence and I would consider this to be very dangerous. Like if a child lost balance, they could really hurt themselves falling down. Except the kids in my neighborhood do it all the time. They walk around this fence. My little girl Amelia, she's 6, and she saw some of her friends climbing up on this fence and walking around, and she wanted to do the same, except I was the only mum that totally freaked out and said, Amelia, you can't do this. Amelia was really upset that she was the only kid that wasn't allowed to walk around this really high fence, and the other German mums were just kind of like, oh, it's fine, you know, it's not that dangerous, and you know, just she'll be fine. And so I reluctantly let Amelia climb up and walk around this fence, but in my heart I was like, okay, this is so dangerous. I don't know whether I should be letting her do this. And then I was kind of questioning myself. I was like, am I crazy letting her do this, or am I crazy for not letting her do this? Because there's a group of German mothers here who are all not in the slightest bit worried about their children doing this. I'm the only one that's panicking about this, and so I reluctantly let Amelia do it, and she was absolutely fine. She didn't fall off and she wasn't like running along the fence. She was walking like slowly around. But still, I didn't feel comfortable about it, and I don't know whether I should have let her. It was a tough kind of situation to be in because, you know, Amelia was going to be the odd one out and she really wanted to do it. So I don't know where to draw the line when it comes to this kind of thing. Okay.
yeah, so I like it. I think it's good again to give the kids that responsibility to trust them. Kids get a bad rep, man, but kids are very, very smart and they're like very aware. Sometimes they can be a little bit clumsy for sure, so I've got to worry. But for me, I'm kind of like in the middle. I'm like, I give my kids as much freedom as I possibly can. I'll still keep an eye on them and make sure they're safe and not doing anything too crazy, and be there roughly just in case they fall. I'm never like looking away or not concentrating on them. I'll be kind of concentrating. I'll still give them that freedom. But yeah, tell me what you think about that, and how did you let your kids do things like that, or what was your thoughts on that?
So another sign that you are raising your kids in Germany is when you go to a swimming pool, like a public swimming pool or a lake, and you see mothers everywhere in all shapes and sizes strutting around in their bikinis and swimsuits. So they could be 8 months pregnant with this huge big belly chasing around after their toddler, and they don't care. They're just like, I want to have fun with my kids. I don't care that I'm 8 months pregnant. Not only will you see a lot of pregnant women in swimsuits, you'll also see a lot of women postpartum in swimsuits. So maybe they've given birth like 2 weeks ago and they've got their tiny little baby under their arm, and they do not care that they have stretch marks and that they haven't lost their baby weight. I just think this body positivity is so awesome in Germany, because I think a lot of parents in other countries would refuse to get in a swimsuit if they didn't look perfect, if you know what I mean. Like if they had stretch marks, or you know, if they were carrying a bit of extra baby weight, they would hide away rather than just get in there and play with their kids and make memories and have fun with their kids. When I was pregnant with my little girl Amelia, I would never ever have gone out in public and showed my big pregnant belly off in a bikini. And I totally changed my mindset when I was pregnant with Mateo, my son. I would take Amelia to the lake, the river, the pool, and I would see all these other mums, you know, having fun with their kids, splashing around in the water, getting in there with their kids and enjoying themselves. And I was the odd one out. And then I was like, hey, I want to do that too. So I reluctantly put on my swimsuit with my huge big pregnant belly sticking out, and I got in that water and had fun with my little girl. No one looked at me weirdly, no one cared, and I was able to just get in there and make memories with my little girl without worrying about how I looked. So anyway guys, those were the 5.
No, that's cool. I mean, like, that again, like, I feel like you should just be confident. You'll be pregnant, like, it's a beautiful thing, it's great. You're bringing a child into the world, man, a fantastic thing. Just be proud of who you are, and, like, obviously I can't speak for that because I'm not a woman, so it's just a very, probably more individual thing, how people feel, but yeah, it's great, man, like, great things. Yeah, again, Germany seems very, like, progressive and a great place to raise kids. Tell me if that's the case in your experience, what you think about it. Is there anything else that's interesting about raising kids in Germany? Tell me in the comments. Thanks.